How narcissistic changes impact relationship satisfaction. The fact that narcissists are bad love partners is well known. Instead than utilizing relationships as a method to experience closeness and love, they frequently utilize them to further their own interests and bolster their own self-esteem. They place more emphasis on superficial traits like physical attractiveness and status than they do on traits that are essential to fostering intimacy, like warmth, loyalty, and trustworthiness, and they actually experience the greatest levels of happiness when their partners exhibit such traits. It should come as no surprise that over time, narcissistic people's partners often grow dissatisfied with their relationships. The majority of studies have demonstrated that one's personal narcissism is unrelated to overall satisfaction levels. However, one study did discover that the contentment of extremely narcissistic women decreased over time. But how might varying degrees of narcissistic qualities itself within the same person impact a relationship's course? Eliakim Kislev's most recent study, which was just published in Social Psychological and Personality Science, looked at how narcissistic personality traits and relationship satisfaction changed over time. The two aspects of narcissism: the narcissistic admiration and rivalry concept, a theory of narcissism, served as the foundation for the current research. According to this hypothesis, there are two ways narcissistic people can inflate their egos, and they are represented by two different traits: both narcissistic admiration and rivalry. High admiration individuals want to charm and amaze others because they feel distinctive and unique. People who score highly on the rivalry dimension have the belief that others are inferior and like watching their competitors struggle. Narcissistic appreciation can really be linked to satisfying romantic relationships when it occurs on its own, without narcissistic rivalry. However, narcissistic people who score highly on the competition dimension are more likely to experience a variety of relationship issues, such as utilizing harmful dispute resolution techniques and being unforgiving of their relationships. The research data from a sizable long-term study of more than 8,000 adults in Germany were used in the current study. The sample comprised people who were married, living together but not married, and those who were single. However, more than half of the respondents who reported being in a relationship were married. 2 years apart, the respondents completed questionnaires rating their personality and relationship satisfaction. Increases in narcissistic rivalry were linked to drops in pleasure for both men and women over time. The findings on narcissistic admiration were less apparent, but over time, higher levels of narcissistic admiration for women appeared to be somewhat associated with it. Conclusions: the study offered compelling evidence that over time, variations in narcissistic rivalry were connected to variations in relationship satisfaction. From a statistical perspective, this finding also indicates that people who saw decreases in narcissistic rivalry over time felt more content with their relationships. The study author interpreted this conclusion in terms of how increases in competition may contribute to drops in satisfaction. In either case, these findings demonstrate that having a propensity to maintain your ego by demeaning others does not result in a fulfilling relationship. It's also likely that personality changes were influenced by variations in contentment. It's possible that those in relationships that get better over time felt more loved and accepted by their spouses, which led them to be more kind to prospective rivals. Similar to the previous example, individuals whose relationships soured over time might have internalized negative experiences in those relationships and altered their general perspective of other people, which led to increased levels of narcissistic rivalry. Additionally, demonstrating that this is a dynamic process is the fact that these factors changed over time. Over time, personality traits can evolve. Long-term increases in destructive traits can have a negative impact on relationships, but changes in personality that are healthy may have the